Yeah, exactly. So anyway, let's move on to the sheriff's race. The Sheriff Taylor, who's in his first term,
Yes, P.D. Taylor.
has a challenger. Tell me about him.
Okay, one of his deputies has stepped up to run against him. What was it in December when Oklahoma
Yeah.
Taxpayers Unite had their conservative Christmas party?
Yeah.
Deputy Mike McCulley, a former Marine, if I believe correctly, announced his intention to run against Sheriff Taylor to become the new sheriff.
Have you met him?
I have met him. I met him that evening when he made his announcement.
Okay.
I've seen him a number of times since then. At Oklahoma Second Amendment Association events, and I frequent the courthouse.
Yes.
And so many times he's one of
You don't have any outstanding warrants when you go there, do you?
No, my name is not Mr. Motorcycle.
Okay.
No beard and MAGA hat for me.
All right.
But normally oftentimes he's one of the people running security downstairs at the courthouse.
This deputy who's running.
Right, Deputy McCall.
Okay.
And he seems like a pleasant enough person.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some concerns.
Tell me about him.
Some things have come to light recently. I believe, I'm not sure what type of event it is, maybe a town hall, the discussion of some sort, that apparently he's planning to put on in conjunction with Commissioner Calvi.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, because of this, there are elements within the Sheriff's Department that thinks that the two of them are in cahoots and they're conspiring to bring down the Sheriff's Department somehow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. But
Yes,
I think that Deputy McCulley has good intentions,
Mm-hmm.
and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and if anyone else steps up or indicates that they'd like to run for the job.
Mm-hmm. Okay. This is still Calvi's first term. Boy, he's making a splash. I mean, he was elected, what, year and a half ago?
Right. And this is his, he left the House of Representatives.
Mm-hmm.
He was a representative there for some time. And I don't know if he was termed out or if he just...
I think so.
the election.
And let me tell you, he actually was, I believe, Del City district. And then because he was military, reserve, and he was called up active duty, he went off to the Middle East. And back then, you had to resign your seat. And then they've since then changed that in the legislature where you don't have to. But Calvi was one. And when he moved back, I guess that's Scott Inman took over that swing district seat and hung on to it till he finished. But Calvi then, I believe he was up in Edmond or up towards that way, which is where his new home was, and he ran from that district and served out, the rest of his term, and now doing this. And it's interesting, Kevin's always been courageous and bold enough to ask the tough questions.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, that'll get you in trouble.
It can, it very well can. And, I have no doubt of his courageousness. I'm familiar with his military history.
Okay. So you're saying there's a bit of a swamp in Oklahoma City, political swamp.
It seems that way.
Okay, describe it to me. What does the swamp look like?
What does the swamp look like? Well, there's a municipal swamp.
Yes.
The city government.
Okay.
There are people that have their concerns about the mayor.
Yeah.
And then then there's the county side of things.
Sure.
And it's just an interesting ride to see how these things are going to play out.
And we haven't even begun to talk about David Prater, the
district attorney. Oh yes, he's a he can be an intense individual.
Yeah. Now he's has a lawsuit filed against him by a former prosecutor on his staff, who he fired because that prosecutor wouldn't drum up some kind of criminal charges against former Speaker of the House, Chris Steele.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to be an interesting thing when that comes out. And now another one of his assistant prosecutors was just arrested for beating the snot out of family members, if I remember right.
Yes.
Okay. So we've got some real darlings here in charge of controlling and keeping law and order.
Well, and let's not even forget about some of our judges in that courthouse that don't like paying their taxes or parking tickets.
Yeah. We got a problem. We have a problem in Oklahoma City, and it is now a swing district, a county, Slightly more Democrat again than Republican.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, it's the last charts I looked at. They just re-upped
Yeah.
the numbers,
Yeah,
and it's
we-
just a little more Democrat. In the state House of Representatives, the majority of the members from that delegation, the county delegation, are Democrat.
They are, and you know the demographics are shifting. And I will say that Oklahoma City has a mayor that sees which way the wind is blowing.
Hmm.
And like any good politician, he's playing the right tunes to the right people.
Yeah. Let me say this. If you're just joining us, I'm David Van, the founder of SoonerPolitics.org, and this is one of my excellent correspondents out on the road providing live footage of government meetings and rallies and special political events and news events happening, especially in central Oklahoma and sometimes even down in Lawton. And courageous man, this is Adrian Otap.